to be on that plaque, and it's free. It's free and clear. And our intent is to honor the veterans of the township that have lived here, served for our country. We want to honor them, so we want them on that plaque. We want their names on there and their date of service and all that stuff. So we want to, if you know somebody, they've been here, they've been a resident, even 50 years ago, it doesn't matter. They've been a resident, they've been in the service, we want them here. We want to honor them. So that's what we want to do. We have some good discussions moving forward as far as getting visibility. I'm going to talk to Greg about getting some, some website, more public website information out there to the real world. We have a couple of things coming up. We have a couple of events coming up this year. We have a fishing derby Saturday, April 20th. Put it on your calendar. Movie night Saturday, August 24th. September Fest as always, and I confirmed last night that Percy will not be having their Percy Day on our day because it's September Fest. That's ours. Just for the record. We did have Maggie presented Healthy Kids running series. We looked at it. She gave us a lot of good information. Unfortunately, it seems like a huge commitment right now, so we're going to investigate a little bit further before we actually look to, maybe take on something of that nature. It's a little bit larger than we intended. We have a couple things going on, but other than that, it was a great meeting. It was 2 hours, a little longer. We had a great discussion, but I think there was a lot of positive feedback as far as moving forward for the 2019 year from Park and Rec.
Hey Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. You are going to give a little talk about just what you're doing to fix that back stuff, or the
Yeah, it's getting next weekend.
next week, that the batting cage. We're doing correct. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave. I entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second this motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Congrats, Dave.
Yeah. Sounded like you had a lot of energy there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, commission reports, please. Evening, Tim.
Gentlemen, how are we?
Thanks for pitching for the chief.
Yep. This is the report, the following information lists the monthly activities for the Pembridge Regional Police Department for the month of December 2018. Pembridge Regional Police Department responded to 514 calls for service. Of those calls, 239 were in East Rock Hill Township and 275 were in West Rock Hill Township. The department handled 26 traffic crashes, 7 in East Rock Hill, 19 in West Rock Hill. 12 were reportable and 14 non-reportable. In regards to criminal activity, Pembridge Regional Police officers responded to 2 Part 1 crimes and 30 Part 2 crimes, totaling 32 crimes. As we always say, Part 1 crimes are known as the index crimes or violent crimes. West Rock Hill reported crimes. There was 1 burglary attempted at a residence, 1 theft, 1 corruption of minors, 2 fraud cases of disorderly conduct, 2 criminal mischief cases, 2 trespass cases, a public drunkenness, 1 drug violation, 2 dog law violations, and 4 cases of ordinance violations. East Rock Hill had 1 assault, 3 narcotics possessions, 1 fraud case, 1 criminal mischief, 3 harassment, 1 dog law violation, and 4 ordinance violations. Criminal charges filed for December 2018. There was 1 burglary, 1 criminal trespass, 3 simple assaults, 2 harassments, 2 disorderly conducts, 1 public drunkenness, and 1 DUI. Officers conducted 193 traffic enforcement details and 17 traffic details on Old Bethlehem Pike specifically. Officers issued 7 verbal traffic warnings, 23 citations, and 40 written warnings. Officers also conducted 247 business checks. Also, I believe earlier today, Chief Blake included the 2018 MCSAP summary, which is our motor carrier safety summary. There were 72 motor carrier inspections completed by Officer DiGiovanni, 41 level 1s, 0 level 2s, and 31 level 3s. Of those 72 motor carrier inspections, there were 77 violations cited. 9 vehicles were placed out of service due to safety violations, which constituted the vehicles were too hazardous for highway use. And 1 driver was placed out of service. In other words, he was removed from his truck and not able to. And that concludes the report regarding the December 2018 calls.
Thank you, Tim. Sounds like there's energy there in regional police.
Oh yeah, we've been busy.
A lot of good work.
Thanks, Chief, or, thanks to Ken. All right, I'll make a motion to approve Tim's report as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second, all in favor?
All right.
So agreed. Committee report, question, tax collector. Good evening, Suzanne.
Good evening. Just to let you know, obviously I haven't collected any money in January. Tax liens were settled the 4th of January down at Bucks County tax claim. And my books have cleared to zero. But I do want to note that I leaned a little less this year than I did last year, so that's a good sign.
Real good.
I
So
collected
there's energy there.
about 98% of the tax roll.
Yeah,
So,
wow.
it was a good year. The tax bills are gonna be generated for March 1st, county and township tax bills, next round.
Good, keep it coming.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thanks, Suzanne.
I'll make a motion to approve Suzanne's report.
Yeah, I'll second it.
All moved, all in favor?
Aye.
Engineers report, Mr. Baloo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do not have anything on my report tonight unless there's any questions.
Thank you.
I have none.
No?
Move the motion.
Yep, I'll make a motion for
I'll
the
second.
report.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Solicitors report, Suzanne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only item under the Solicitor's report this evening is the approval of the resolution granting preliminary approval to the Katz subdivision on Ridge Valley Road. You heard from the Katz family at the last meeting. You reviewed the plan. You directed the preparation of a preliminary approval resolution. That's been done. It's been forwarded to the applicant, who has indicated that they are in agreement with the conditions set forth in the resolution. So if you are inclined to adopt it, you'd be looking at a motion to approve Resolution 2019-3.
I just would like to make a correction on, I think it's Kratz.
Did I say Katz?
You said Katz.
I meant Kratz.
I just wanted to make sure that's
Yeah.
the same
Sorry.
thing you were talking about.
Same plan.
Okay.
Same
And
plan.
all the issues are resolved and agreed to,
And it
including
would be
fees.
2000, it'd be the 4. It's mislabeled on the agenda. The next resolution is
Oh, it's 4.
Four.
And Greg and Steve, are you guys sure that we have good protection relative to the water issues in that area?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the, resolution 2019-04.
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, thank you.
All right, I'll pass these
Good
down
job,
for
that was
your
a long haul,
signature.
Nick.
That, I have nothing further under the solicitor's report.
Okay. Mr. Lippincott, you're on.
I'll make a motion that we approve this solicitor's report.
Oh, yes,
as presented.
I'll second.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will go over the treasurer's report. The general fund has a total of $465,773.24. Highway aid has $80,194.31. Open space, $827,242.95. The park fund, $7,576.37. Equipment fund, $130.94. Highway capital, $126.43. The street light, $31,741.47. The reserve funds, the general fund reserve, $343,136.57. Open space Manderfield, $50,599. Sewage maintenance fund, $170,155.08. The stormwater fund, $5,410.41. The escrow funds, $349,361.62. The board also has a copy and list of all the bills.
Okay,
Okay,
you guys have any questions on that?
I don't.
No? I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report, payment of the bills, subject to audit.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next item under the manager's report, we have a request from Percy Regional Authority to extend public sewer down Branch Road to 3 houses. I think Nick Fretz from PRA is here. I don't know if he wants to get up and speak on it. You also have, information in your packets.
Good evening, guys. I'm Nick Press, Perkins Regional Authority. We were requested by a few residents to extend public sewer on Branch Road, roughly 230 feet to connect at least 2, potentially 3 customers to the public sewer system. One of the residents is here tonight, in favor of us extending the service. They're trying to sell their house and are unable to, with a failing sewer system. So the plan would be for the authority to extend this on the township road, which was recently paved, I believe, 4 years ago. So we would extend the sewer with the authority personnel doing all the labor and not charging any of the labor costs. So that would roughly cost about $38,000 to extend that about 230 feet, which would be split between the 3 homeowners, with the total cost being roughly $17,000 per house. So we would request that the board entertain a mandatory connections ordinance for those 3 properties along Branch Road, 2 of which have conveyed to us that they would like the service. 1 has not responded back.
Has there been any discussion with the one that didn't respond?
We've reached out to them numerous times and haven't gotten a response back.
And that situation, 2 units on one side.
And 1 was
units on the other side.
correct.
Can I recommend that, we have our manager reach out to the person that did not respond to you and see, what the situation is? You know, I personally hate to make someone go through we don't know what their situation is. You know, that's a lot of money. You were looking at about 16,000, property, right?
Sure.
That's a lot of money for a property owner to shell out if they don't have maybe there's a reason for it. I
Correct.
know that you said you reached out, but you haven't gotten a response back yet.
Correct. That's correct.
So before we move forward,
Totally agree.
our manager should investigate the situation. The other question I had for you, if this were to go through, you would be responsible then to re-overlay the road there in that area, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And the majority of the cost of that $17,000 is the overlay district.
Re-overlay the road.
Yeah, because the authority personnel will be installing the pipe.
Okay.
So the majority of that cost is just basically the overlaying of the street.
Okay.
Okay. You comfortable? You comfortable, yeah?
Yeah.
So we'll handle it that way. Doing great, we'll take care of the communications and with the criteria we set up, so. Okay?
Sounds good.
Thanks for your presentation, Nick.
Yeah. Okay, next item on the agenda is old business. Do you gentlemen have any old business that needs to be discussed?
I have 2 items for old business. First, Allentown Road. There's been a lot of discussion about Allentown Road and the bridge, and we had reached out to PennDOT and asked them what they were going to do about the bridge. Chief Blake, after the last meeting, actually reached out to PennDOT again and said, what's your plan for Allentown Road? And he got back this email this week that said the study is complete. The restriction of trucks over 45 foot in length on Allentown Road from Bucks County, from the Bucks-Lehigh County border down to Ridge Road is approved. So there will be a restriction of trucks on Allentown Road between the northern end where it hits Lehigh and Bucks and down to Ridge Road, no trucks over 45 feet. Signs will be installed as part of a small sign contract. So that's all we've.
That's some help. That is some help.
Very good.
Yeah.
Congratulations, good.
All right, one other thing, at the last meeting, we had discussed cameras so that we could do our own recording and put that recording in archive, so we have a complete set. I know the township uses it. I got a big support from our regional police department to do this. Having talked to the staff, I think there's a little bit more than that, because we do have Judy leaving, which is going to leave just Greg and Sherry here, and they're both in back offices. There's nobody going to be out in the lobby a lot. I think we should also consider two cameras, one for in here and one for out there. That'll give us a complete view of everything. There's other security things I want to talk about in new business, but I know at the last meeting, Don, you said you wanted to think about it some more, so here's the opportunity. would like to move forward with putting 2 cameras in. The cost would be less than $500 for both. What would happen was the meetings would be recorded, the front lobby would be recorded, that would all be stored on our server downstairs.
I'm not in favor of that. I'm not gonna support that.
Can I ask why?
Yes, because we have people here, citizens that tape our meetings here. We don't need to spend money to put cameras in to tape our
But you
meetings.
cannot rely on the citizens always being
Why
here
not?
and getting a copy.
Well-
The last 2 meetings.
But you have one going right there. You have
I
one
do,
going on,
yeah,
on that.
because we couldn't rely on the others, but I would rather the township did it and put that in archive and have it available for citizens so that they can see what occurs in the meetings. Like I said, I had support from the police on this too.
Yeah, I understand that. The perception could be, and I am concerned about this, there's a lot of perceptions going on, that, so the township presents it. Does is it possible the township would be altering it? This
Well, I'm
way,
sorry.
these are independents. They can do with what they want, they have the privilege and the right to do that. What do they do with it is their choice.
That's true.
And so, I think
I
that's.
want an official copy. I want an official copy on our server that every one of you can look at by just clicking on a link on the website. If you can't make it to the meeting, you can look there. I know that I've looked at these other 2 videos, and they're great videos, and sometimes they get 100 hits. And now, that to me, that says we should be doing it ourselves, we should have a complete copy of it, and it should be available for the township folks.
Well, we're going here, 100 years. We haven't had, people decided they want to do it, they do it. They don't want to do it, they don't do it.
Okay, I have checked with other townships.
I haven't said this or that, Jim.
Okay,
I mean, you had not mentioned the camera out front.
well, that could be a second.
That aspect of it may be worthwhile, primarily from the protection of other people. So, I want to think about it some more.
You got a long road, Jim.
I know. All right, so there will be no
I
vote
didn't
on
slow
that.
down, I said I want to think about it.
Okay, I'm just saying, there'll be no vote on it tonight. That's all I'm saying. Those are my 2 items for old business.
Okay. Anybody else?
I don't have any.
No business?
No.
Public comment?
We have new business.
Oh, I'm sorry, new business.
There's 2 things. I had put in the minutes, as Craig put into the agenda, park and rec budgeting. Now that you're our new chair, Dave, in the past, throughout the year, I know that there's items that we've talked about a long time, but then all of a sudden it comes up to us and we're pulling money out of the general fund to fund things. And I would really like to see the park and rec come in by the end of the year, telling us what they want for the following year, so that we can put all those items in
By September.
by September. Okay. So we can put all those items in, and it's already budgeted, it's approved in the budget. The next year comes along, you do your work, Greg sees that it gets paid. It's so much cleaner that way, okay? All right, so that was my one item. The second thing is security. I mentioned that Judy will be leaving, and we need to secure this building more, I believe. We don't have, Greg is out on the road a lot. Sherry will be here trying to work in the back and trying to get people in front. I think we need to do a couple things. I think we need to modify, first of all, the front of the lobby. And this is not something this is something I would like to have looked at for the next year. Modify the front of the lobby to make it ADA compatible. That front door is a disaster for anyone that's trying to come through it. I think we need to plan out how we want to pay to have that door fixed so that you can get a wheelchair, a walker, or 2 people through it at the same time.
The entrance in general.
What's that?
The entrance in general.
The whole entrance, yes, I think we need to have that checked out. We need to have more security out there. If there's only one person in here, I know I've talked to the police department about this, about how we can secure that more so that the person in a back room knows that there's somebody out there and that person can't get any farther. I also know that if somebody's standing at the door that goes into the offices and you walk out from the back also, you can't see, or you hear somebody knocking on that door to enter, but you can't see it, right?
potentially have a person like me sitting there all day too,
Yes, true.
feeling not secure.
Right, exactly. And the other thing is that the back door is open because Suzanne's office is back there, and people could even walk in through that way. So all of this has to be looked at.
It's not supposed to be open. That door's
Well,
not supposed to be open.
It isn't open, it's locked.
Okay.
It's a lot, but somebody could break through that internal door.
Just so the board knows, I've noticed sweating on the glass. The glass is from 1977, and it's never been replaced. I've started to get quotes, I haven't gotten the quotes back, but I noticed the sweating on the window, so. I said, look at the entranceway too, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been working on quotes.
Okay. There's been a couple of incidents in other townships within the past year where cameras were helpful, security was helpful, that, so nothing, thank God, happened. But I really want to, I'd like to take an effort right now to start through this year so we can budget it for 2020, how we're going to make changes out front. And just to secure the building in general.
I understand that.
And Tim, do you have anything you want to add to that, or?
No, I was talking to the chief about this, and quite frankly, every public building should have some type of camera system.
Yeah.
On the outside, at the entire entrance, everything. One of the things about, a lot of the cameras that you can actually purchase, even, ours are high impact cameras. So a lot of them are semi-bullet proof too.
Oh,
So even not even so much for documentation purposes,
Yeah.
let's say a meeting or something like that, evidentiary purposes
Yeah.
for prosecutions down the road, for the way we look at it.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times a camera like that, it acts as a deterrent
Yeah.
to possible offenders or things like that too, just knowing that they're on camera, like they're not getting away with this. So, yeah, obviously, cameras are the way to go. It's, 2019, there's cameras everywhere.
yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
So that's all I have. I'd just like to get that out so we can start planning that this year, through the year. That's all I have for.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Now we're ready for public comment? Start back there and go around.
Megan Clemens, Thousand Acre Road. I have a 4-year-old son with Down syndrome. I have a 4-year-old son with Down syndrome, and he has early intervention services through the intermediate unit, and the district had to set up bus transportation for him. The transportation department came out and analyzed the route for my son to be picked up from with a van. When they analyzed the route, they said that they had no visibility, and so they wouldn't be able to pick my son up in a van because they wouldn't be able to see getting out of the driveway. So they told me that I would have to do one of two things, either put a mirror across the street or take out several trees, some of which are not on my property, and they are on my neighbor's property, but both options would be within the right-of-way. I had shared with them that there had been a mirror across the street at one time when I moved into my house. There had been one there. Over time, I guess it fell and broke. And so it would make sense to put one back. They encouraged me to reach out to the township regarding putting up that mirror. So I reached out to Mr. Lippincott regarding putting that mirror up across the street. He told me that the property owner would have to decide whether or not to put that mirror back, and it is Jim Miller's property, so he said that he would reach out to Jim Miller. In the meantime, the transportation department also reached out to Mr. Miller on 2 occasions, and not only did they not allow us to put the mirror back or respond to the district, they took out the tree the mirror actually used to be on. I reached out to Mr. Lippincott to let him know that they were not letting me put this, that we hadn't gotten this response. Mr. Lippincott suggested that I maybe move my driveway. So I guess the solution should be that I spend, $30,000 to put in a new driveway, which would have to go over top of my underground septic system, and to the opposite side of my house that has no doors or garage, and then, I don't know, maybe walk around to the other side. When I got that response, I realized, okay, it's not even worth responding, I might as well just move on. You know, it was also made clear to me that I can buy a sign to deter people, but I would pay for the sign, and the township could install my sign in the right of way without a property owner's permission, but apparently I can't buy a mirror and have them install the mirror in the right of way without the property owner's permission. The mirror would actually allow a van to take my son out of my driveway and drive him to school. The sign would not give them that ability, and if people are already ignoring the sign, you know, traffic signals with buses, why would they all of a sudden acknowledge a sign? So the school district solved the problem by sending a bus instead, so the bus could pick up my son in front of my house in the road. And that way they wouldn't have to pull in or out of my driveway. The only difference is, since my son is 4, he has to actually get buckled into his seat, which takes time, and people are impatient. And so the first day that my son had to ride the bus, as they're, you know, they were adjusting the buckles, getting him buckled into his seat, a vehicle was waiting behind the bus, started revving the engine because they didn't want to have to wait that long for the bus, and finally flew around the bus while my son was still being buckled and took off. I had no knowledge of who this person was, or what their vehicle looked like, or license plate number, so I had no way of doing anything about it. The police wouldn't have been able to look into it. Fast forward to last week, Mr. Miller is pulling out of his driveway. Well, first, so the bus comes to pick up my son, stops in front of the house, goes out the stop sign, puts on the red lights. I'm walking towards the bus with my son. Mr. Miller starts to pull towards the end of his driveway, pulls directly behind the bus, turns his car towards the bus as if he's going to follow the bus. I guess gets impatient, decides he doesn't want to wait, turns his wheel in the other direction, and goes off in the other direction. Now, Mr. Miller is making the assumption that no one is coming in the other direction, or if they are, they're following the exact same traffic signals that he's ignoring. If someone was coming from the other direction and ignored those same traffic signals, there would have been an accident, okay?
I would like.
I'm not done, please let me finish.
Okay.
So, or it's on a hard bend, the person, you know, people can't see going around that bend, the bus is right there. If they're going around that hard bend and they don't see and they go through and you have no visibility where you just pulled out, which by the way is illegal, completely illegal to pull out and ignore bus signals, okay? That vehicle could have hit the bus, or it could have hit the bus, could have hit you because you would have pulled out and they wouldn't have seen you. It's dangerous.
Mrs. Clement, I think we understand your story, and everybody gets 2 minutes, and you receive 2 minutes. But I would suggest we will discuss this, and try to understand the whole picture.
I think I should be able to respond to this immediately since I've had cameras
Something
all
I
over
said,
my house.
something I said, let me finish. If you want to comment, then let's comment, not in the middle of what somebody's saying. I think that's courteous to do that.
2 minutes was up. First of all, I'd like you to show me the letters that the school board sent to us to put up mirrors. We've not heard from the school board. So you show me copies of them.
I never said the school board, I said the
You said they
transportation
contacted us.
department.
Show me how they contacted us. I've never received contact from the school board. Never.
I never said the school board contacted you, that's
Isn't
what
that
I
what
said.
she said earlier?
I said the transportation
Okay,
department.
transportation, I'm sorry, transportation never contacted me.
They said they contacted you twice, Greg Lippincott said he contacted you, so are you
Greg
saying
Lippincott did, and Greg
contacted you?
Lippincott said I told Greg it should come through the school district.
And I told Mr. Lippincott
And
to
you
let
know
him
why
to
it has
say
to come
that
through the
you
school
were
district?
contacted
Will you let me
twice.
speak now,
I told
please?
Mr. Lippincott
Will you let me
twice.
speak now, please?
Oh, we're not done.
You let me speak, please. Mr. Lippincott told you that the township does not put up mirrors. Therefore, I asked to have it come through the school district. The school district has never sent me anything, they've never contacted me, And if you're gonna stand up there and lie about it,
Excuse me?
yes.
I'm not lying, I
I
have
am,
emails where they
Mrs.
specifically
Baines,
told me,
I'm
they
sorry.
contacted you twice, I told Mr.
She won't let
Lippincott,
you
I have
speak.
emails that they
Meg.
contacted him,
So
that,
please,
did I not tell you that they
Turn
contacted him twice?
Turn it off, it's public
Stop.
comment.
Okay, Mrs. Baines Clemens, I have a camera on my thing, and I can show you exactly what I did. The police were out there, I think the police officer is right here, actually,
Hey.
who came out to the house.
Public comment.
let's,
No, it is not, because this is harassment. After the meeting last year, and after what Mrs. Baines Clemens did to my wife in front of the school board, and what is happening tonight, this is harassment.
Jim, I suggest all of you take it outside and figure it out. This is not a forum.
You're going to endanger a bus full of kids.
No one
and you're gonna
endangered your child.
You absolutely
Both of you, stop.
I will
You
gladly
have-
show anyone the video who wants to
Take it
see it,
Jim,
and you'll
shut up.
see.
We have decorum in this room. That doesn't include the supervisor getting crazy because somebody makes a comment. The comment was right or wrong, I don't know. We gotta learn more about it. Appears to me Mr. Lippincott may be a source to start to look at, so if it's a problem, it's a problem. Everybody has to work together to fix it. It's the way this world turns. There ain't nothing done with this kind of crap going on. Is there anyone else have any more comments that's not on the same subject? Yes, ma'am.
I am the one who's reevaluated the public sewer hookup. I've been.
I'm sorry, can I have your name?
Michelle Nodasher, 274 East Branch Road.
And
Can you
speak
spell
up
your
just
last
a
name?
little?
Naudascher. I purchased the residence June of 2009 under the impression that public sewer was going through. I had documentation of projected projects. It was again revisited in 2014 when the road was going to be repaved. I and one other resident were very interested in this. However, nobody else on the street was. I worked full-time at the time, and I was down in Southampton, could not attend any of the meetings. I emailed numerous times with Nick about how this project is going to happen. Nobody else is interested. I am in the process of selling my home. In order for this to go through, I need this project done as soon as possible. Me and my neighbor are very interested. He has, him and his wife and 3 little ones. He tells me that their septic system cannot handle the amount in the people in that home. So either way, however this goes, I'm just hoping that this project can go through as soon as possible. I am aware of the cost. He is aware of the cost, and just trying to get things moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is